Before we begin, let's go over some formulas. The first formula is, we'll start with the slope. So given 2 points, let's say you're given x1, y1, and you're also given x2, y2. If you want to find the slope between 2 points, the formula is y2 subtracted from y1 divided by x2 subtracted from x1. So when they give you 2 points, the y2 and the y1 will go on the numerator, the x2 and the x1 will go on the denominator. Once you have the slope, you're able to do two equations, one called the point-slope form, where they give you a point, 1 point, and a slope. So if they give you x1 and y1, you can plug it in this formula along with the slope, and you can come up to what you will end up solving is you will end up getting it in slope-intercept form, which is y equal mx plus b. Another thing is if you have parallel slopes, that means both the slopes are equal. So if one slope is b being any kind of number, then the other slope is b as well. And if you have perpendicular slopes, then if one slope is b, then the other slope is what's called the negative reciprocal. So it'll be negative 1 over b. So if m1 was 6, then m2 would be negative 1 over 6. Let's say m1 was 1/2. Then you would flip it, which would make it 2, and you would change the sign, which would make it negative. So you flip it and change the sign. That's how you know you have a perpendicular slope. So based off of those formulas we had, let's begin. So let's say they give us 4 points. 1 point being 15 over 9, another point being 12 over negative 7. And they give us another 2 points. So they give us 8 and negative 4, and they give us 5 and negative 20. And the question they ask is, the line going through the first 2 points, is it parallel to the line going through the second 2 points? So a parallel symbol would be a double bar. So is this line going through these 2 points parallel to this line that's going through these 2 points? That's the question. So what you would need to do is you would need to find the slope of these 2 points and the slope of these 2 points and see if they are the same, because by definition of parallel, the slopes have to be equal. So remember, this is your x1, y1. This is your x2, y2. So based off the formula, it'll be y2, which is negative 7, subtracted from y1, which is 9. And it'll be divided by x2, which is 12, subtracted by x1, which is 15. So you have negative 7 minus 9, that's a negative 16. And 12 minus 15, which is a negative 3. So two negatives will cancel each other out. So this will be end up being a positive 16 over 3. So you don't have to convert this into an improper or anything. You just want to see if the other side will come out equal. So what you would do is do the same thing over here. So you have y2, which is negative 20, minus y1. So that's minus a negative 4. And then you have x2, which is 5, subtracted from x1, which is 8. So what you end up having is, this is a negative 20 plus 4, because when you have two negatives next to each other, that equals a positive, and that's divided by a negative 3. So negative 20 plus 4 is a negative 16 divided by a negative 3. And again, two negatives, one on the top, one on the bottom, will cancel each other out. So you end up having 16 over 3. So as you can see, these two are equal. Therefore, these two lines are parallel. Okay, let's see if you have the question. They give you two equations, x plus 4y equals 7. And they also give you 4x minus y equals 3. So the question is, are these two lines perpendicular? Perpendicular is a line, it's a symbol that looks like this, because a perpendicular line is directly opposite of the other line. So it looks like it makes a T shape. So are these two lines perpendicular? So another way to find out is to get this in slope-intercept form, which is in y equal form. So what you would do is try to solve this for y. So you subtract x from both sides first, and you end up having 4y equal a negative x plus 7. You always want to try to keep the x on the beginning. And then you divide everything by 4 to get the 4 off of the y. So what you end up having is y equal negative 1/4 x plus 7 over 4. So the slope here, as you can see, the slope is whatever is connected to x will be negative 1/4. So you need to find the slope on the other side and determine if they're perpendicular. So remember, if you have a slope of negative 1/4, a perpendicular slope would be that flipped, which was 4, and the sign change, which would be positive 4. So let's check this one out. So you would subtract 4x from both sides. And so that will leave you with a negative y equal negative 4x plus 3. And then you would have to divide everything by negative 1 just to make the y positive, because you want to get it in y equal and not negative y equal. So when you do this, you'll have y equal positive 4x minus 3. And so your slope here is ended up being positive 4. So as you look at the first slope, negative 1/4, and you look at the other slope, 4, they're directly opposite, which are negative reciprocals of each other. So if you flip 4 and put a negative sign, you'll get negative 1/4. And if you flip negative 1/4 and change the sign of that and make it positive, you'll get 4. So these two lines are perpendicular to each other. Let's say that you have randomly selected two lines, and you want to know if they're parallel or perpendicular, either one. So to find out, you also have to get them in terms of y equal. So you subtract 4x from both sides over here, and you end up having negative 3y equal negative 4x plus 6. And then you divide everything by negative 3. And so what you end up having is y equal 4/3 x minus 2. And so your slope here will be 4/3. Now you need to find the slope of the other side. So you subtract 3x from both sides, and you end up having a negative 4y equal negative 3x plus 2. And then you divide everything by negative 4. And so what you end up having is you end up having a y equal negative or positive 3/4 x, because the negative is on the top and the bottom, minus a half. And so the slope here is end up being positive 3/4. Although this is the reciprocal of that slope, they're still the same sign, which will make this this is not perpendicular. And because they're not the same, it's not parallel either. So these would be neither perpendicular or parallel.